8th of April, Dallas Personal Robotics Group meeting virtual since we're locked out of the space and we're all in lockdown. Just as a reminder, we're recording here for everybody, and we're just going to go casually through and walk down the list to see what we've been working on the last week, anything interesting to talk about or share and show. And what we normally do now is just scroll down the list. Oh, cool. Here's Ron Dagdag too. So if there's any questions about using Google Hangouts Meet, let me know in the chat. There's a top right of your bar. You can click chat, and we'll try and answer your question. But I think most of us are regulars now on this, and thankfully Google has caught up with the nice matrix view of everybody. So, woohoo! So with that, let's. Oh, go ahead, Marie.
I do have one question. How do you get rid of the white bar with the people on it if you just want to look at the video?
Click one of the pictures in the middle of the screen, and it should go away.
No, I pinned myself accidentally.
You did.
There. Okay, it's done. Thank you.
And there's Harold. Okay. So now I don't know how do you get back to the. I clicked you, and I got. Uh-oh. So who can help explain how we get back to the matrix view?
Change layout on the bottom right hamburger menu.
Bottom right, change layout, hamburger, tiled. Officially it's called tiled.
There we are.
Outstanding. All right. Well, having said that, then well, let's just dive in. And if we go top to bottom, I'll just go last, and just in case I talk too much. But so, Clay, would you like to go first?
Sure. Hopefully I'm off mute now.
We can hear you.
Yeah, so I've been playing with my optical flow gadget. I can't see my own view very well here. It's tiny, but that's a little Raspberry Pi, and I've got it wired to this little optical flow sensor. It's a ADNS3080, I believe. And if I can share my screen, I can show you. I found some code on the web that wasn't really in very good shape, but I was able to comment some stuff out and get it to compile. And right now it's just dumping the DX and DY. It does have a lens on it. And so the next thing I want to do is basically get the code up and working to use it as a camera. It has a 30 by 30 frame, and it should have a pretty high frame rate. But, you know, I've made some progress. I'm pretty happy with that. I just started this morning, worked on it for about an hour or two.
Hey, cool. Yeah, and for those of you who haven't been on the last couple of weeks, there's been a growing interest in optical flow in our discussions, and there's several people online who are dabbling. And of course, I'm sitting on the sidelines waiting to see who can solve it first so I can just copy. Cool. Well, thanks, Clay. Mr. David, you are next in the list.
Is Robin on?
Sorry, what?
I don't have anything. I'm just an observer today.
Oh, just the observer. Not just an observer, but your valued observer. So we respect your observation and opinion.
That sounds good.
Yeah. Okay. And then I guess, Doug, that would be you next.
Me?
Doug,
Me, John?
Doug Parody.
Okay.
Oh, me? Okay, give me a second.
Oh, okay.
Okay, let's see here. I need to figure out how to get presentation mode here.
I wonder if everybody has the same order that I do, because there's Doug, then Harold.
They're all mixed up.
They're all mixed up. Oh, well, sorry. Okay, so Harold, you're in the wings after Doug.
Okay.
According to the moderators list.
Right.
Looks good.
Let's see if I can get this. Come on. Where Where's the stupid-
If you could
Okay.
just remind us, Doug, which one this is. I'll put it in the chat for us.
Okay, this is the Max Go that I was talking about, how I thought I overbought and I didn't really like it, and I wish I'd bought what Ray bought, da 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 da. Well, I couldn't handle it. This is sort of like, you know, it's got way too much. It's got Wi-Fi, it's got a battery, it's got all this cool stuff which I don't need for a robot. So let's see here. Here's the back of it just for view. Here's how you get to the pins on it. So I bought what they call a Max bit, and this is it right here on the center of this Radio Shack proto board. And I like it because it's set up so you can get to the pins very easily. Doesn't have Wi-Fi. It basically just gives you the interface and a camera and a LCD. So here's the back side of my little mount. You can see there's the LCD. You can see here there's a space. That's where the wiring trough is going to be, right down in there. Okay, and it's going to, here you can see the back side. I've only tacked the header pins in, so they're not actually soldered. But you can see there's places to connect the wire. Fold it over here, it'll work real well. This is the test robot that I'm putting together. I'm missing a few parts and I'm trying to get them now. But so this is from the Build More Robots version 2 prototype robot. And it is turning out to be an extremely flexible 6-inch wheelbase robot. And I'm really pleased with it. And this is on this particular one, you can see that I'm using the encoder TT motors, and I'm also using lithium ion 18650s. Now these are just here to see if weight distribution. They're not the actual batteries that I would be using. I'll probably use some new ones. And this is a plug for the Build Your More Robots version 2 tutorial series. Here you can see the 3 robots that are configurations that are essentially. Ignore this. This is I was testing. Ray, what is the other thing that you get from the DF robot? I can't remember what it is. It was on. It's another K210 board that's supposed to be more user friendly. And this is what would normally be.
Husky Lens.
Yeah, this is a Husky Lens, but I was just playing around with the Husky Lens and using this base. So this is what would normally be up here, except flipped over. This is the bottom view. All right, so this brings up another thing. It looks like we're gonna, I'm getting more and more emails from people asking about Build Your More Robots. And I'm considering going into having a virtual class. And I'd like to hear what you guys think about that. I mean, the first thing that strikes me, when I originally canceled it, I told people the reason why I wanted to cancel it instead of try to go virtual was because I wanted people to have the interaction with other robot builders, and I also wanted to share tools so that it would be an easier thing to accomplish. If you're doing it by yourself, obviously you can follow the video to build the robot, but you're going to have a soldering iron, which, if we had it down at the space, you would just use, a soldering station that we set up. So I'm just curious. I'm thinking I have a list of the people who signed up at the space, and I'm going to poll them this week and see what they think. Also, obviously, I was going to charge them a token amount for the laser cut boards because, the club was going to help sponsor that. Now, I might have to charge a little more because of shipping and packaging and all of that stuff to get it to them. So anyway, that's what I would like to hear people's opinion of that. And that's all I really had to say. And if I can figure out how to stop sharing, I will. There you go. I don't know. Am I still sharing?
No, I
No.
think you stop.
Okay. So what do people think?
Is everybody familiar with this series, by the way?
I'm not, but looking at it now.
So maybe Doug, do you want to, just for those that haven't heard of this before, do you want to describe just briefly, the first round and how that went, what his purpose was, and what you're trying to do this round?
Okay. Let's see. Give me a second here. I guess wanted to get
Got a
the
message saying, Doug, you're still presenting and everybody's thing is frozen. Is anybody else seeing that, or?
No, he's not presenting to me. I see the grid.
Oh, you do. Uh-oh.
I think, yeah,
Maybe
you might have to go get the grid. Now, I can't get it right now. All I can see is myself when I'm going
Are you
over and
in?
clicking on it. No, I can go to the change layout and I can see it, but it's not showing me everybody. I like that. Well, anyway,
Are you sure, Ray, or Doug, that you're not actually pinned? Because if you pin an image, it'll override everything else.
that's possible. Where would the pin be?
Right in the center of the screen if you click on your face.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's what it was. Okay. Hey, thanks, Murray. Anyway, so you asked for the Build More Robots series. Originally, it was in 2018 was the first time it was presented. The intent was to try to encourage beginners to join the club. So we had essentially a 5-session robot class. The first one was getting to know your robot kit. They bought a kit. They start off by buying a kit off of Amazon that costs $22. That's the basis for the reason why they buy that is because you can't get parts for $22. You get more parts than you $22 worth. I can't source it any other way. So the intent was, first one was to learn about the parts and put the robot together. The second one was the basic idea of Arduino programming. The third one was how to do, I think, a moth and a drop, what do they call it? A tabletop, moth and tabletop robots. And then the next one was wall follower and line follower. And the next one was navigation, how to do navigation. And then the third one, last one, I think, was pretty much tying it all together. And we had a competition at one of the club meetings where they did a line following and one other, I can't remember. I think it was a there and back. But that was the first series. So you'll have to go to the web because I can't really remember. But anyway, one of the thing is we're going to change it for the second version. Again, trying to get new members and trying to also encourage beginners to get started quickly, give them a jump start. Otherwise, ideally in 3 or 4 weeks, they actually have a robot that can do something in their hands. And so this one, I believe, the first one is was intended for the people to meet at the space and build their robot kit right there in place. Okay. And then the second one was programming. Then the third one was line following. And the fourth one was sumo. And then I think that was it for that series. With the idea of in the last part of the last one, we would talk about a robot, how to upgrade it to the one that I showed you in this picture with, lithium batteries, encoder motors, probably a Mega. And it all would be, you would have your kit, you could do anything you wanted with it. So that was the intent, and that was supposed to come off in early, I think it was April 7th.
Started the shutdown, yeah.
Yeah, or maybe even the first month of March, late part of March. I can't remember exactly when. But anyway, so I got shut down. So, but now, since I have no feeling for when this is going to start up, and we did actually fill the 20 slots that were on the course. I'd like to offer it. I'm thinking of offering it virtual. So I don't know. What do you guys think?
Okay, I'll make a couple comments.
Okay, John.
I don't want. Okay, first off, I haven't ordered anything online per se, so I have no idea how shipping / getting products right now would be on that line.
Right now, it's pretty good.
Okay, so
I haven't had anything that I wanted.
Okay.
I couldn't get.
But that would be the first thing, is that, does everybody have all the necessary parts? Okay.
Yeah. Well, if they buy the kit and if they buy what I suggest in the DOM, they would have everything. The problem is they might not have the tools.
So, John, you're cutting out a little bit. Could I just ask a simple question then? Because there's like 12 of us online. So would anybody be put off by the fact that it's virtual?
Well, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, I put headphones on. I wasn't sure if that affected things. The way there's this idea that New Zealand moved from level 4 to level 3, but we're still pretty much in lockdown. We're not supposed to be getting together, meeting with people or anything like that. So considering that in the US and elsewhere, the situation of any individual person is kind of unknown, like what level of lockdown they're in and what they're permitted or what they're willing to do. I mean, people living, like I just talked with a guy who's living with his parents, and his parents are quite elderly. And so he doesn't dare go out of the house because he doesn't want to infect his parents. Although, of course, he could die too. Anybody could. But in any case, people's situations vary quite a lot. And so I think anybody at this point would settle for a virtual meeting. People are hungry for getting together. And I mean, that's one of the reasons why we're here, right? It's like nice to get together with people, even if you can't get together and actually have a beer together in the same room. I think people really want to get together. So I'd highly encourage you to do a virtual one if you can't do anything else.
The only thing I would bring up is you have to allow for a little variations. I mean, because it's not in person, you have to have it a little more slower. You have to, as I said, do they even have the equipment so that, they can show you in the camera? But you're right. The virtual, what I call the virtual world, actually surprisingly does work reasonably well. I mean, there are the hiccups I have at work now because I don't have but in this case, at work, we don't tend to use the camera. Here, we're using cameras, so you get the feedback of the face and the movement of the hands that you don't, and that's typically one of the problems of the work from home, is that you don't get certain feedback. So because, I was there at least 5+ years back, I read a book on it. They did a survey. Yes, let's do the hands.
You guys should be just glad that you can only see my top half.
But it was an interesting book because they actually
Daryl,
did a survey.
you're not wearing underwear again?
So yeah, that's why I'm saying it. I think we could do I think we can do the virtual class. I'm just saying we'll need to allow for a couple key things. A, can they get the equipment they need local? Do they have the equipment in their house, in other words, type thing, and realize that there is going to need to be some incorporation of the fact that it's virtual.
So let's say you couldn't actually put together the robot because you didn't have the tools. Would you still think a virtual class would be worthwhile to go to?
Well, and that's why I said I would do 2 parts effectively. One where you have, more the equipment, and one more of the program, because in my case, I have several variations of robots. So example, here's my little walker one. They've seen that. In the process of cleaning, I found this again. And then I have this one. So you know, there are lots out there. As I said.
Mhm.
Well,
No, it's not
Doug,
that.
Doug, were you planning to record these sessions?
Well, actually that would be something that would be easier to do. We wanted to record the first series, okay, but because of how hectic the meetings, the class actually was, and the fact that we just never got. I think we tried the first 3 sessions, and I think we had half of one session actually recorded well, so we kind of gave up on recording them. But if you did it virtual, you just push a button that says record on the corner, and it's everything you have is going to be there forever.
Well, that's a good argument for then doing virtual classes, because people who don't have the robot at the moment of the class can go back, and after they get their robot in the post, they can then go ahead and look at the class and see how it's put together.
Yeah. I should mention, though, that to do the class, along with the class, you have to have the modified base. Okay, otherwise there's laser cut and 3D prints that I put together as a package that normally you would give me like $10 and I would give you this package, and then you just, instead of the parts that are in the kit, you would use these separate parts.
But it sounds like you could work around that kind of stuff though, right?
Yeah, well, let me ask you this. When I presented that PowerPoint presentation, did the pictures look good?
That was great.
Yeah,
Good.
clear.
Okay.
What you could do is have a slight film part where you're building it actually, so that way people could do and then a question and answer. You know, if they have a problem, they could talk type thing in that format. In that case.
Hey, Carl, can you put 20 people on this?
You know, with our DMS account, we can do 250. So
Okay.
let's aim high and start low, and I think we can work you through it. But it sounds like, you know, a little adjustments, but for sure, many of us have spent a lot of time on these with training sessions. So let's try it, Doug. Let's give you a hand. Let's get it done.
Okay, well, I'm going to poll the people then who I have signed up and see who's still interested.
Yeah.
And then if I get at least 10, I'll think about going ahead with it.
Yeah, you can do it. Cool. All right, thanks.
Okay. That's it.
So, cool. Next in the list, Harold.
Yay!
What have you been doing this last week?
Well, actually, the last week I wasn't here because I had some other things going on. And I couldn't be here. But I've been mucking around and playing, and so I'm going to change my camera just a little bit so you guys can see. Transition. And so let me get out of there. So I'll show you what I've been doing. So I think you guys can see the close-up of my wheels and my desktop and a little bit of me. So when I left off the last time I talked to this group, well, you know, I was presenting, I was showing this thing, and it gave me some great ideas about where I'm going to stick my the battery. In fact, I think I'm going to put the buck converter right on top of the battery. So that'll be really cool. So I just kind of pull this off, and this whole thing Velcros down in the middle of it. I think, and again, we worked through that last time. I thought it was good.
Harold, excuse me, are you presenting? Because we see your presentations management screen, I think.
Really?
Unless I'm missing something.
You should be showing just my my desktop, which is what I want to show you.
I see 2 copies of you. I see a background.
There you go.
I see code.
Let me make it a little less distracting. Sorry.
Oh, no worries.
Okay, you should see me in the upper right-hand corner.
Yep.
I close up in the lower left-hand, and then my desktop in the middle taking care of most of it.
Okay, just checking.
And so what I can change it around a bit for the second. For the minute. Just scroll it.
At least for me, your lower left is a little blurry.
What now?
Your lower left is a little blurry, at least for me.
Okay.
There we go. That's better.
Is that better? I've got to still work on this, working out the scene and the close up there. I thought I had that corrected, so it was for my close up thing, but not there. So I have been doing some soldering and some crimping and some inputting on, and as you can probably see, this thing here is, oh well, of course I just blinked it off, but you see you got a green light going on my RoboClaw.
Nice.
So I have all that hooked up. If I can, did I just blow something up?
We can see it.
Hold on, I just lost all kind of juice.
Is that smoke supposed to? Oh, never mind.
Oh no.
You guys smell something burning?
Yeah. You guys are funny. Oh, my power supply went into constant current mode, not
I love
constant voltage mode, and so now I don't have enough juice to do the thing. Hold on.
Sometimes that can mean short. I hope that's not the case.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope that's not the case. Oh, I move stuff. Dadgummit, I've got an error light on my buck converter, so that's not going to fly.
Demo effect.
So that's not any good. I'll have to go see what I did on that. I probably blew that up. So now I can't show off so much. Dang it. But anyway, what I was saying was maybe I can. Hold on one second.
It worked at home.
Yeah, I'm at home, so that's how that works.
It worked 10 minutes ago.
It did work 10 minutes ago. 2 seconds here. I've been playing with these ferrules for rules. These square crimpable things.
Mm-hmm.
They look like that. They make real nice connections. Love them.
Oh,
Yeah, they're great.
And what I've been doing, okay, I'm at 12 volts. 12 volts. All right. I think I just blew up my buck converter.
oh.
Dang it.
What was it supposed to do?
It was I think I can show you now. So you guys are looking at my screen, right?
Yeah.
And I can connect up to the RoboClaw. And I can go into the PWM settings. And if you'll watch the wheels, I can make the wheels move back and forth and back and all that sort of thing. So I got wheels that are moving. And so the next thing I was planning on doing was then to make some kind of Bluetooth connector and write a little bit of a Windows program, because this is all being controlled over USB and sending signals to it. And that's what this application does. And I got a little bit of a library that's supposed to be able to control this as well. And I've got to write a console app just to prove that. And me being a .NET guy, wanted to do, got to do .NET Core. And the library was written in like 2013. Doesn't know anything about that. And so I got frustrated. So I'm going to go back off to do our 4.7.2, I think is its latest thing. And so I'm going to write a little console app so that I can prove that I can get it talking to it from a Windows application, not this gargantuan application they have here. And at that point, I should be able to send and receive information to get it to move. And then hopefully I can hook one of my, I've got a couple of these Xbox controllers hanging around, and they're Bluetooth. Nice. And they're should go right into the Windows stuff, so I can be able to control these things. So that would be my next step. So that's kind of that deal there. And anyway, that's me playing. And again, thanks to all the good input I got a couple weeks ago. I've got an idea how I'm going to work on this thing. And something I didn't show you. Let me change my thing shift slightly. Yeah, we'll do that one. I've got an HDMI screen that I'm going to put on this thing. And so the idea is the Latte Panda is going to fit right here, like we had discussed. and I'm going to mount the screen something like this on the back side of it, and maybe write some kind of piece of UWP program to give me status and other information on the back, because I kind of like seeing the thing. And I think it's going to be, but the first things first, I got to write a console program to be able to talk to the robocall and make that happen, so I can control the bot, and then we'll see how far else we go with that. So that's what I've been doing.
Well, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's real cool.
The other thing, I got a YouTube channel, and so if you really want to see some funness, about every time I'll be coming into the garage, I almost said the lab, but Jonathan's online, he'll get me. I've been sharing out, just live streams of me just in here. I usually talk out loud because I talk out loud anyway about what I'm thinking. And I have had a couple drive-by people show up for like 37 seconds or something. But I usually get on, and right now I've been as opposed to putting all this together, I've been doing a bunch of coding. And if anybody wants to help me do that, that's fine. In fact, if you have never used Live Share, it's funny. I can send you a link, and you can code in the same window that I'm coding in, and help me type things or point out, hey, don't do this or do that, and that kind of stuff. And we talk about a whole bunch of things. So I'm really trying to be pretty open with all this stuff I'm doing. So if I can help somebody, because I don't know nothing about all this stuff. I mean, I know a little bit, but I've got enough of you guys know me, enough of me to know that I'm the jack of all trades and masters of nothing. Kind of. Right?
Unity, we're with you on that.
Yeah. So anyway, that's about all I got, and hopefully that was at least a little interesting. Now I got to find out what happened to that thing.
Cool.
It was so cool too.
Hate it when that happens, but good luck. Good luck with your buck converter.
Yeah, it would look so cool. Anyway.
All right. So if we keep going down the moderators list, so we've got John K, and then after that Jonathan Huddle, and then after that Josh W. So John K, did you have anything beyond those two robots you put up earlier? Anything you wanted to share? But audio? I get a J when I click on. Oh, there you go. Okay.
So am I there?
Yep.
Am I next? Okay.
You're there now.
Okay, cool. Well, as I say, I had dragged out some computer robots and clean the house, so I'm toying with putting arms on this one because I could upgrade it to have arms. So I'm toying with that. Or the other option is work, because I tend to like things that have legs or move type thing. So the other that I'm toying with is maybe building an inchworm type thing. So I'm thinking about this as a possibility. So we'll see which one I go with this next week. The inchworm or have arms on the guy. So that's about what I've been up to.
Oh, that's cool. Cranking along.
All right, and then work.
Yeah.
So that's the other thing, but yeah.
Yeah. Oh, cool. Well, thanks. Good luck with the arms.
Yeah, I'm leaning toward the arms. So I have enough parts here. That's what I mean. I haven't really ordered anything, but I found some servos and that. So it's a matter of just cranking out the design.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Thanks.
Gestures,
Yes. It could do the Wyatt dance or whatever. So yes.
All righty. So Mr. Jonathan, is there any project you'd like to put up and share?
Sure.
You've always got something cooking.
So, by the way, hi everybody. I'm Jonathan. I'm from over in the northeast corner of the DFW Metroplex. Is why I don't get over to the lab very often. So the fun project that I need to put my time into, I purchased quite a few parts, and I think my kids are going to enjoy it, and I'm going to enjoy it. I'm interested in making killer robots. So
killer robots.
Yeah. So I've always wanted to build. I've seen there's a website called Project Sentry Gun that's been out for like 8 years. And it's a paintball turret where it sees a person running around and it'll shoot you. But I purchased a whole bunch of Nerf guns, and kids are pretty stoked about that. In fact, here, I'll show you one of them. This one cost about close to $100. I'm too close. I would shoot it, but I took the battery pack out. Anyway.
More power.
Yeah.
Is that because it took the wall out the last time you shot it?
No. So there are so many different aspects of this. You've got like, Arduino programming, you've got servos just to make it move, and then you got person detection. So that could be, in the case of Project Sentry Gun, they use
Yeah,
someone's bringing baby chicks into the garage and distracting me, so I apologize. So Project Sentry Gun, they use processing, but like typical software, it's 8 years old and processing has moved on in all the libraries, and I spent days, probably a day, tried the older versions, newer versions. Anyway, I may have to start over with how I do the person detection. Anyway, so that's a blocker. But once I get the turret working properly, I intended to maybe put it on a chassis. So this is kind of similar to what you guys were showing, the little two-wheeled pigs. First, I made it a little bigger.
Yeah.
I have some different motors. These are just stepper motors. I decided to, anyway, have some gear motors. So I have a lot of stuff, but that's probably the fun project I need to get into. So,
Killer robot on a wheeled base that can knock you over. That's
yeah. And if it could roam the yard autonomously while searching for targets, that would
your
be like
Sentry.
Sounds like a party.
all the kids would be over here with their Nerf guns. So we'll see if that works.
I got a
It'll be shaped
suggestion,
like a
actually. You
Sure.
could make a second robot that has a vacuum cleaner to go around and pick up all the balls.
Yeah. And have it come and reload the gun. Right?
Yeah.
When you get low ammo, and the other robot will link up and dump some more ammo into it, and then start going again. See, we can make it as complicated as you want it, Jonathan.
Yeah.
Well, it
But
needs a
I'll
target on
update
it.
you if I start working on it.
Needs a target on it so that when you shoot at it, it will disable it or something.
That would be slick too, huh? All right. I'll make
That's
a note of
pretty cool. Nicely done. We look forward to that. Yeah. Already cool. So we have next in line we have Josh, and then after that Michael, and then Murray. So Josh, is there anything you've been making any progress in last week? Any questions, comments? Cats?
Your mic's muted. Your mic's muted. Josh, your mic is muted.
Everybody wave their hands at him.
Microphone, chat. All right. We need a theater organ so we can just have the silent film kind of background music.
Now can you hear me?
Oh,
yeah.
Let's go.
Sorry about that. So anyways, what I've learned this couple weeks, and I went back and watched some club videos that really helped me out, that tracked robots absolutely are difficult to play with. And I had bought some OSEP rubber track and it kept falling off. So I'm trying some Lego track because I had it in stock, and we're going to see where that goes. The other thing I found this week that to help keep parts organized and go back and forth to Makerspace was the Pro 370 tackle bag from Walmart. It has 5 nice big tackle box organizers, all in a zip up bag that you can take with you. And then another thing to report is that Tanner Electronics is unfortunately closing, and their last day of business is May 2nd. Yeah, very sad, but figured if you were healthy enough and wanted to get by and say hi, it's probably a good time, because they are not going to be there anymore, unfortunately. That's what I've been working on.
That's great sadness.
Yeah.
End of an era. All right, well, tracked robots. We look forward to seeing more about that. That's cool. All right. And next in line, at least in my view, Kareem, jumping right into the fray. Is there anything you wanted to show about progress in the last week or so?
No, I'm just lurking today.
Just working today. That's cool.
Where
Not
am
working.
I on that list?
At least somebody is. Let's move on then to Michael Everson. What have you got?
Well, my wife works at a booth at an antique. Can y'all hear me fine?
Yeah.
Sounds good.
And she has had this in her antique booth. Anybody know anything about one of these? Huh? It's got a cassette and everything in it. I don't know.
Does it carry beer?
It's from the 70s or something, man. Nobody recognizes this thing.
Yeah.
I might put some guts in it and use it on a can or whatever, you know. I don't know.
That would be cool.
But I might put some. Well, if it's worth some money, I'm not going to ruin it. But if it's not, I'm going to gut it and put it. Maybe do some line following with it, huh? What do you
That'd
think?
be awesome.
What's that lever on the side?
I think it has something to do with the cassette. There's a cassette in here. I'm not
It
sure.
looks like a toaster. Looks like a toaster.
Toaster, but it's got little.
Radio Shack back in the day. I've got a Hero. I've got a Roby.
It's got little arms. See that?
Way, but the Radio Shack back in the day had something very similar, like a Roby Jr. or Robbie Jr. And the cassette deck, you pop it in there, and it would remember movements and things after you did a remote control, so it how to walk and where to go. And that's how you program it. And then you pop the cassette back in there, rewind it, put it in the same place, and hit the go button, and it would repeat that. But that doesn't look like one of the Radio Shack versions.
No, this is called Tommy. But it has an antenna on it, so it had a remote or something.
Yeah.
So that's kind of interesting. My wife gave it to me, you know, so from her antique booth.
Oh, so
I
she
guess
gave
she
you a good
could
price even.
Well, she couldn't sell it probably, so that's why she brought it home.
There's actually a whole bunch of stuff online about those. They're Omnibots and stuff. If you search Tomy, there's actually even a Wikipedia reference.
To that bot right there?
Well, there's ones with cassettes in them.
Yeah, that's interesting. So like I said, I might gut it and put it in competition.
Yeah.
I got a.
There you go.
I got a question about, you know, if y'all are using you know, the cameras and stuff now, and you're using Raspberry Pis, which I have no experience. Well, I only have a little bit of experience with it, Octopi, but other than that, is there special y'all use Python? Anybody with Python experience give me is it a special Python that goes with the Raspberry Pi, or is it?
No, it's standard Python.
Okay.
A Raspberry Pi is, yeah, if you think about it, a Raspberry Pi is just basically a Linux computer.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So it can run anything that Linux can run, and you can get, and Python comes in two versions, version 2 and version 3, and you can run both. It's exactly like, I mean, I use a Linux box for my main computer, and I can transfer stuff back and forth between the Raspberry Pi and my workstation without any issue.
I play with Linux too, and
get the right library in there to access GPIO, all the GPIO pins, that kind of stuff. And I think you're done.
Yeah.
Well, I say you're done. You're actually just starting, but that's, you know what I mean.
I've been playing with Python for the last 3 weeks. I've been learning Python 3.6 or 7 or 8. But yeah, I just didn't know much about it, and I knew you guys mess with it a lot with these cameras. So I'll probably be getting into that and ask y'all some questions about it. Because I might get into those cameras too, you know, because
Okay.
anyway.
Hey,
Cool.
Hey,
Yeah.
Mike,
Yeah.
I guess if you flick over to my screen, I'll show you something. This is my retro. Can you see it? I can't see myself, so I don't
Yeah.
know.
I see it.
Okay, this is a RAD 2, and it actually has its original purpose was they used to have a tray down here that sat out, and this guy would reach down and pick up a drink and pick it up and take it to you, supposedly. It was
Wow.
It was remote control. This is a 3 Nerf dart shooter. Right
I
here
can't
in the
hardly.
middle.
Yeah.
It's a Nerf gun. But the real thing is it makes all of these, it has the speech patterns that it uses that are all real 1970-ish, you know, computer voices. And the controllers, I've actually pulled it apart and looked at it. The controller is an old PIC, and you can actually access the points because they're all serial inputs. But I mean, it's not serial inputs. They're all digital inputs and outputs. So by forcing an output, you can actually get it to say the different things. So this is the one I wanted to do. Huh?
Put it in front of your face so we can see it.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
Wow, I've never seen that.
See,
It's got a bit of stormtrooper going on.
yeah. But that, like I say, you know, it's like kind of way down on the project list.
Yeah.
But it is cool, and my dreams are to get it one day to, you know, do something simple, you know, nothing elaborate, but, you know, maybe a line, like you said, maybe line following or something. I thought it'd just be cool.
You can get it to
Anyway.
throw a Nerf dart into your beer, maybe.
Yeah.
As long as it doesn't drink it along the way.
Yeah, there you go.
If you go out on the web, you'll see that a lot of RAD 2s were actually cannibalized and used for some sort of Nerf gun, where they actually mounted a Nerf gun on them, and they were used in sort of like Robot Wars before there was Robot Wars.
Right.
You know what I mean? And but it's kind of cool history. Anyway.
Very nice. All righty. So next we have Murray, then Ray, then Carl. Murray, how's it been going there in New Zealand?
Good. We've been having very sunny, warm days and trying not to stay inside too much. I have been both on the software and the hardware side very busy. As some of you may know, I've been using OSEP hardware for the basic chassis and motors and everything, and I had this strange feeling that OSEP was starting to get harder and harder to find. So I put an order in from Australia and from Canada. So I went to, I think, Core Electronics in Australia and Robot Shop and got a whole bunch of extra motors with wheels.
Oh, wow.
So I got a whole lot of spare parts because I rely on these motors, and if I burn one out maybe a year from now or 6 months from now, I won't be able to get any. So I'm hoarding robot parts. And that does mean, though, that I am going to do some background work that I didn't do before, which kind of comes on from what we talked about last time, which is I've been building a PID controller, and I've had some luck with that. And one of the suggestions that I think maybe David had said was that, or maybe Kareem had noted that my slew controller was actually built into the PID controller. So I've pulled that out now, and it's actually its own Python class, and it actually uses time rather than the number of ticks or anything like that. It was the number of calls to the slew controller from the PID controller. Now it actually is an independent timer. And one of the things that came out of this puts me back into the very retro area of GNU plot, which I have never used before. And so I've been tying GNU plot with, David's smiling, GNU plot with Python and generating data from my PID controller. And now I can actually see how bad a job I've been doing, because it's like, so I can actually now tune it and see what I'm doing. And I'm also now using my slew controller to tune the slew controller as well. And on the way up, it's a nice smooth line. I've got the line something wrong. Anyway, my spare parts have allowed me to build another robot. So I'm
That
I'm
means
not
the
sure.
parts are no longer spare, you know.
It's just I'm not really going to use this robot. It's mostly a test robot, and it's basically got the OSEP motors, and it will be a dual differential drive with another smaller 12-volt Makita battery. But it's mostly a test robot. I managed to mount one of these nice OSEP wheels onto a caster, so that works pretty well. Yeah,
That's cool.
yeah, and that's just one of the larger, the 2.9-inch clear plastic casters from Robot Shop that I drilled out the center of and then mounted the OSEP wheel on, and it has a bearing of its own, so that works pretty well. And that way I've actually got the 3-wheeled robot now. And so I can, because the 4-wheel robot does have trouble, as everyone who's tried this knows, and I've learned the hard way, that turning in a circle is difficult for a 4-wheel robot, where it won't be for this one. And I've got a bit of adjustment to do to get that circle around it correct. But so this is mostly an experiment, but it does mean I'll be able to take all 8 motors that I've got and figure out which ones are best matched, because I'll be wanting to, my KR01, my main robot, has a pair of motors in parallel. So I want to make sure that the motors I choose for those pairs are the most matched. So I'm kind of basically doing that. And that's pretty much it from me.
Hey, Murray, you might be interested. Yep. I don't know where, Kareem might know where this is. I think it was a first team. Did a PID demonstration where they had, like, one wheel was a 4-inch wheel and the other wheel was a 1-inch wheel. And it ran perfect because the PID took care of it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I assume that a PID controller would make up for the difference in the motors, but even still, I'm going to try to match, since these motors are, you know, a pair of motors on each side. I want the motors themselves to be matched so they're not fighting with each other.
Oh, you mean for front and back on the same side?
Yeah, yeah,
exactly.
I
agree with you.
And then you're not limited by one of the other motors either that way. So you're
right.
They're similar.
Yeah, and I guess the other thing I think I mentioned last week is that I've got an order in the mail now for a couple things. I've got 4 of the small micro gear motors and 4 Mecanum wheels, and I've also got an order in for the Pimoroni, what's it called? The optical flow sensor. So I might try the optical flow sensor on this robot. In fact, this one actually has some space for it. So, but yeah, that little Mecanum robot will be my next project that will be more serious. This is just like kind of goofing around.
Nice.
But that's it for me. Yeah, so very busy, very busy.
Looking good for goofing around.
Yeah, goofing around.
Okay, cool. Next in line, we got Ray, and then me, Carl. So Ray, what have you got going on this week? Are you going to talk more about OpenMV?
Not about OpenMV. I actually bought it's a PMW 3901, one of the optical flow sensors. I think that Murray was playing around with.
Same one, yeah.
I have a video. I don't know if this is going to work well, but I'm gonna try it. So yeah, the volume may be too low, but let's see. Screen. Share. And darn it, I had this all up. Video. There it is.
All right, so we can see your. Ray, could you check your microphone?
Yeah, can you not hear?
We can hear. I think the thing is we still see your face. I don't, or maybe I'm pinned. Hold on. Oh, sorry.
Wasn't sure what we would listen or watch.
Are you seeing the video or no?
Yeah, we're seeing the video.
Okay.
We're seeing the video, but we're barely hearing it.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
Looks frozen to me on mine.
Yeah.
Oops, there it changed.
Just a 10-second frame rate.
Turn this on and basically hold it up into the air until the. Is that louder?
It's louder.
Yes.
It is.
Okay. And just point it forward and see how it does. Tracking. You can see it's tracking that board pretty good. And the LCD is putting out the X value, the accumulated X, and the X value with. Actually, what I meant to say was 128 added to that. Tracking into that one board. Moving forward, so it does very well with that, and it can go pretty long distances. Gotta catch my robot. Anyway, so you can see it tracks really well.
Yeah.
Which sensor is that, Ray?
That's the PMW 3901. So what I was trying to show did you guys hear that at all?
Just barely.
No, not the beginning.
Ray, did you use the Pimoroni one or the Adafruit one?
This is the Pimoroni. It's the PI.
Okay, I haven't got mine in the mail yet. But.
Yeah. So there were a couple different ways to utilize it, and the first way you could actually spit out the array to an LCD and do manipulations on the array. I think it's 35 by 35. It's supposed to have a very fast frame rate. I just wanted to see what the camera was looking at. And then the second way, I'm actually looking at the, I guess I could get rid of this video. Okay, I'm not stop sharing, stop presenting. Okay, so the second way I'm actually looking at, well, it gives you a delta X and a delta Y. I'm just using the delta X. And because I have thing facing forward, so I was using that to basically track a point. So it's like if I screw it off and I let the thing, zero out the delta X, so it's stationary pointing at something, and then just put it down and let it go. It pretty much tracked whatever point I was pointing to, and did it very well for pretty distances. That was I don't know, that was maybe 13 feet total. I did it in my living room on a tile floor, which is not a smooth surface at all. And I was probably able to go maybe, I didn't measure it, but over 20 feet. So, and it still tracked, what I had initially pointed it at. And I think it's using features in the wall, or ways, shadows, that kind of thing, to figure out where to go. and worked surprisingly well. So I kind of thought that these were going to be used like in their initial use was you're looking down, and so you can see movements in X and movements in Y, back and forth, and correct. And I also tried pointing it up at the ceiling to see if it could get cues from the ceiling and try to figure out. That didn't work so well. But the staring straight forward and just using the X, delta X, basically, change in X, I was able to, and I tried several different angles going through the goal. It pretty much, a straight line trajectory through the goal, or that little soccer goal that was on through the second part of the video. But yeah, so I was impressed. I mean, for a little over, I think, $20 US from DigiKey, I could do similar things with a much more expensive and more sophisticated camera. So I wanted to take it outside. I haven't taken it outside to see if it could focus on something in the horizon and drive a platform to it. That would be neat if it could, because that really, that advice that if I can get it pointed in the right direction, it'll follow that line to wherever I want it to go. So anyway, that's all I got.
Ray, a question. I haven't got mine in the mail yet, but in your experiments, obviously you had the main experiment was looking forward, but did you say you had done experiments looking down?
Not down. I tried looking up at the ceiling because that would be, I guess, the most similar to a drone looking down. It's kind of nice because it's a fixed distance. You're not.
Yep.
But I don't think I have enough detail in my ceiling. I think it was kind of the white cow norm kind of thing.
Right.
So,
yeah, because I think the minimum distance on that sensor was 88 millimeters, and when we talked last time, I was mentioning that that's just right at the bottom of the platform of my robot, so it's probably really close to what its minimum distance is. So I'll be keen to try that on my robot, or maybe just make a little platform on the back of the robot. But part of the reason I think we even just started this discussion was to use this either as an assist or as a main way of doing odometry. And so that's kind of one of the things I'm thinking.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
And when I'm thinking ceilings, I'm thinking it might need optics as well, so that it has a more narrow, like telephoto or something, so that it's not got such a wide field of view.
Well, but this was designed for drones.
Yeah, I mean, looking down at trees and grass and.
But in a room, it's not just going to get a flat surface like a drone would, right? In a room, it's going to get walls and other things that could confuse the issue.
Yeah, but I mean, a drone looks down on trees and things too, so some of the things it'll see are at different heights. Yeah. I don't know. My understanding is the camera and the main processor on this thing is actually from a drone.
Oh, it is. Yeah, that's kind of the impression I got too. Yeah, the stabilized, like from blown slightly off course or off position.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was like I said, I was impressed. I actually use the it has a SPI interface, and the RAMI platform, the SPI interface is used to drive the motors. So I don't really have access to it. So I couldn't hook it up directly. So I use the Uno basically as a SPI to serial converter, because I do have you can do serial input and I2C input to the RAMI platform, that blue robot base. So that's really the only reason why I needed the Uno up there. So, and I did read the Delta X and the Delta Y. I really wasn't using the Delta Y. I did like an accumulation of all the delta X's, and that's what I fed into basically a PID loop on the Rami platform. So, and it's kind of like proportional steering. The more positive it gets, the more turning you get out of the wheels. So one will spin, or rather the whole platform will turn, because one wheel is spinning much faster than the other wheel. And it'll correct itself based on how far off you are on the center point or where the track. So yeah, I was pleasantly surprised. Kind of blown away. This is way too easy to get this. There's something must be wrong. So, but maybe I'll try again looking at the ceiling. Are you going to have yours look down at the floor?
Yeah, that was the idea, is that hanging off the platform on the back of my robot overhangs a little bit, and it's still within the turning circle. So there's kind of space for me to mount it, and it would be about 90 millimeters above the floor. And so if it can operate at that short distance, then it would be fine. So that's my plan. But of course, I'm going to be waiting a while before it gets here. You never know. It can take a week or it can take 3 weeks. It's just, we're so far away from everything.
I know you're far away. I get that. But I don't understand. Capel is about 35 minutes from me right now as I'm standing. I mean, literally 35 minutes. So I ordered a T-shirt for my wife for her birthday 3 weeks ago. And I get it shipping by DHL. I see it's shipping from Capel to Dallas, 35-mile trip, and the last mile is going to be U.S. Postal Service, right? So they're not even going to deliver it. They're going to drop it off to USPS, and they're going to deliver it, right? So I'm following the things. Nothing happened for a week, days. Finally, I get information yesterday that my package is now in the distribution site in Kentucky. And it's being prepared to get shipped back here, so it gets dropped off, and it may be 24 hours after they drop it off here that it's going to show up at my doorstep as a U.S. Post Office. So, man, I don't know. I don't get that. I don't know. I just don't know.
That's funny.
Well, my experience here is that it could be New Zealand customs. I don't know, but I get stuff from Pimoroni or Robot Shop or from Australia, and it's just seemingly random. I have no idea. It could come really, really quick. Like, I've ordered stuff from the US or from Canada, and it's here like in 4 days. Other times it takes like 3 weeks, and it's the same place. I mean, it's, I don't know. I have no idea.
No logic.
Yeah.
No.
Alrighty.
Harold, I've had stuff get in the Capel distribution center. It seems like it's very chancy. Sometimes it comes out okay. Sometimes, kind of like you said, it ends up in Kentucky or close to where it was originally sent from or something.
I'm sure there's a good reason for all that. I just can't fathom one, and I'm not going to bother. It's almost here, so.
I think we can just safely blame Kentucky.
There you go.
Yes, I'll blame Kentucky and Canada just because that's how the song goes. Anyway.
Okay, I think I'm the last one then, unless anyone else has anything. So I'll just dive right in. I'm going to show you progress I've been making on my Club Car Donkey Bot. So you should be able to see my screen now. So just as a reminder, this is the so-called Club Car Donkey Bot. It's got the 2016 Club Robot down below. And then it's got the Raspberry Pi kind of stuff on top of the camera. And the concept is that I would use the lower part like a traditional DPRG robot, but then I would have a SPI, so an SPI interface to the Raspberry Pi. And the Raspberry Pi is the master, the Arduino is the slave. So I think this is roughly what I showed last week. What you can see now is on the bottom there is basically every time the yellow trace is high, my 20 millisecond loop is active. And you can see it gets a little wider about once a second because I do a few extra console writes. Now the top line is whenever the Raspberry Pi initiates a SPI transfer. So I have this custom protocol I wrote that moves about 19 bytes, 16 a payload. And what we'll do over here is I'll show you what I showed you last week. So if I run this Python, just a simple loopback test, what it'll do is it'll take every value. The Pi master will exchange with the Raspberry Pi slave, with the Arduino slave. And whatever the slave feeds up to the Pi will feed back. So I'll hit return, and now you can see there it is. And then that lets me have my controller, which is tied into the Arduino actually. Whenever I work the controller, it actually sends the values up to the Raspberry Pi, and then the Pi sends it back down to the Arduino and it moves the wheels. So that was what you saw last week, though. And if you look closely, and if we sync on the top part, which is you'll see they're asynchronous, right? So you gotta love the asynchronous world. And if you sync on the Raspberry Pi side, you'll notice that they're pretty evenly spaced with the test code, because it's just test code. There's nothing else going on, and it's nice and consistent. Now, watch what happens when I do this magic. I'll stop my test code, and then I'll slide this over a little bit. I'll slide it over. Okay, now this next one I have, see how it says Python manage.py drive. So what I managed to do was actually, I spent the weekend and I read through all the donkey car software, and I figured out what it wanted, and I made a part for my SPI interface. And I embedded that part as a loopback mode into the donkey car. So now when I launch the donkey car software, you can see there's Donkey 3.1.2. It's adding all the different parts, including my interface. And now look at that. The Raspberry Pi is being a master again. And if you look closely, you'll see that now with all the other junk that's going on in the donkey car software, the duration of the time interval between bursts on the Raspberry Pi side on top is varying around. And then every now and then those pulses really stretch out. And what's interesting is, so Dave Anderson here on the call wrote sometime back in C, lightweight multitasking executive thing, kind of round robin, load arbitrary number of tasks up, and it would iterate through. And to the way I understand the donkey car code, it follows a very similar kind of a model, where you just load in whatever parts you want, and it iterates through all the parts and runs on them. But anyhow, that's what I'm pretty proud of, that I got it. It actually, after I got it working in unit test mode, then I dropped it into the donkey car software, and it worked on the first try. So now in the next week, I get to actually wire it up to the controller part and the actuator part in a donkey car software. And then there's another problem that I have, which is that I have a kind of just stop everything kind of safety feature built into the Arduino. And if the wheels are turning relatively fast when I hit that, it actually resets the Arduino, the Raspberry Pi. And I don't like that. And then I think at one point it actually corrupted, because that had corrupted my GitHub repo. So I got to solve the EMC or the voltage power supply problem, whatever's going on there. But anyhow, we're getting close to this actually being a mashup where it's a differential drive club robot being driven by the donkey car top. And that's what I got. Another week or two away, and I hope to have the demo running.
That's awesome. So a power spike corrupts your GitHub repo. That's the first I've ever heard of that.
Well, actually, I think it was the local Git repo on the Pi, the Raspberry.
I got you. No, I got you, man.
It kind of ticked me off, but it caused some more positive learning, because I figured out how to do stuff in Git that I hadn't got to do before, to put it back in a working condition.
Yeah.
So, yep. All right. Well, that's what I had to show. And let's see. So we still have 12 people online. Have we missed anybody? Is there anyone who would like to demo something or just bring up a point to talk about?
I have a question. We were looking at that optical flow sensor. There's a few other things that I've been looking at that take pins, like the SPI pins and stuff like that, that I'm already using for something else. So there's been a few things, including the BNO 055, which alters the I²C. There's also reasons you want to have a slave processor. And so, in a nutshell. And so I've got like these little tiny processors, and some of them can run Python. The question I've got is, if I want to run a Raspberry Pi master and an Arduino or a Metro Mini or something like that as a slave, is there somewhere you guys have been using as a resource on how to run that master-slave relationship? Is it hard to do?
The only and best one I found is the one that I wrote, quite honestly. And you're welcome. You're welcome to use it. It's got the master and the slave. Well, let's see. The master is available in both Python and C++, but realize they're kind of kludgy because I'm a kind of a kludge. And then the slave is, I think, only C++.
Okay.
And what's interesting is that, as far as I can tell, the SPI interface is pretty versatile. So you can actually send multiple bytes really fast. It can be pretty fast exchange, unless you're trying to do what I've just shown you, and that is, as far as I can tell, when you run the Arduino as a slave, you're kind of stuck to having an interrupt routine to detect an incoming byte. So you're limited by how fast the ISR can serve that incoming byte.
Okay.
So for example, the interface that I wrote, it's really not all that fast. Is it 96 or 100K? I think, but you could do faster in a serial bus, I think, but it's synchronous and it's bidirectional, and but it means that I have a service routine that every time one byte comes in, it grabs that byte, and then I have to buffer it so that I get a whole payload that's coherent before I share it with the parent software, right, with the asynchronous processes. But I'll put the link to that repo in the chat here, and you're welcome to look at it. And
I think what I'm trying to figure out how to do is to have the smaller device be the slave to the Raspberry Pi, but have it be like an I²C device. Like you would just deal with it as just a black box that you could communicate over I²C to. And that way I can basically program whatever that device is, if it's in C or in hopefully Python, and I can do that as a separate project and then just hit it on it and basically assign it an I²C address, and then it would just communicate with the Pi over I²C.
Yeah, that's definitely what I was aiming for. I started off with Pi, but I think I have found some libraries that you can do I²C Arduino to Arduino.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I think in that way, I think the I²C protocol might be a little easier to deal with. I think there's already libraries that work both ways.
Okay.
So I just put up something in chat. It's something called Firmata, FIRMATA. That's a protocol for basically talking between various IoT type devices. It's been around for a while. I don't know if that's going to help you or not, but a lot of times I know I've used that before, talking over UARTs and that kind of stuff between a Raspberry Pi and Arduino, to be able to tell the Raspberry Pi to do something, or tell the Arduino to do something, or ask the Arduino to give me a status information, that kind of stuff.
Okay.
So
yeah, that's exactly what that's exactly what I'm looking for. I don't
know the connection mechanism, right?
Harold, I always thought of that as USB, but it looks like it's really versatile.
Yeah, there's lots of stuff out there. Got lots of code on lots of platforms, man. I'm aware of it. I've used it before. I don't know very much more about it.
It looks like I just wasted my time writing my own protocol.
Well, you learned something.
No, I did. No, that's good.
Learned something, yes.
Harold, as usual, Harold, you've shed light on something. That's awesome.
Oh, I don't know about all that. I just shine a flashlight in a dark corner. Sometimes I don't like what I see, but what can I say?
Okay, that's pretty awesome.
Thanks for that.
Yeah. Cool. So, all right. Anything else? Any other bubbles anyone can burst? Need a bubble bursting robot.
I
Well,
don't.
go ahead and just expose more of your projects so we can burst them.
I think we're all
don't
doomed to
very
do
much
that.
bubbles to burst in this crew here. I don't think we've got very big bubbles and whatever. You know, that's the feeling I get. We can burst everybody's bubble and it's okay. You know, I think that's great.
That's cool. All right. Hey, well, if there's nothing else, look at this. We have finished in an hour and a half tonight. And I think it's been good. Hopefully everyone's enjoyed it.
Hey, Carl.
Yes, sir.
I was kind of curious about, could you guys hear the first part of that video at all?
It was
Not
really
really.
faint.
Really faint. Okay.
It's like the other room, kind of faint.
Oh, okay. Yeah, but you could hear it better when I turned up the volume. Were you getting an echo kind of
Hey, Ray.
with
Hey,
it? Or
Ray.
no?
Hey, Ray.
Yeah.
Why don't, if can you send the video to me? I'll put it up on the web. I'll get it up there.
Yeah, I can't email it. It's like 318 meg.
Put it out on, don't you have a Google Drive or something like that?
I don't. Does DPRG have one that I could load it up to?
It does, but I don't know where it is. I'd have to think about how to give you that information.
Post it on YouTube.
Say it again.
Yeah, if you can set it up on YouTube, can you just upload it to you? You have a YouTube account, right?
Actually, I don't, but I could start one.
Well, what I was going to do is I was just going to upload it on the DPRG account.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so I'll send you how to do that. Okay.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
All right. And I'll look into, I have a Google account, but I haven't used it. I haven't uploaded.
Yeah, I'm sure you have
YouTube.
iDrive. You got to have iDrive or whatever it is, Google Drive.
Google Drive.
I mean, I think they give you a free gig.
Oh, they do.
So,
okay.
Yeah. So I mean, all you have to do is whatever your Gmail account is, just sign on to iDrive and see what you got, and you can put it up there and share it.
Well, YouTube is a Google
All
only thing, so getting a Google account is as simple as going to YouTube and ask you to sign in. Hey, do you want to use your Google account? Yes. And away you go. That works too.
Yeah.
That's correct.
All right. I'll look into it.
Okay. Yeah, because if you get it up there, then we can attach it to this meetings, the chat records and everything else. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But Ray, if your question is about getting the setup where you can stream live, just chat me offline. We can do a little test setup and work out details for you.
Okay, great. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thanks.
Carl, I have another whole question at the sidebar to all of this. So if you want to hang out when you're done, I would like to ask you.
Sure. Yeah. All right. Anyone else? Going twice, going three times with that. I'll stop the recording on our DPRG meeting and we can keep chatting, whoever wants to chat. And
Bye, everybody.
Bid you all a good evening.
It's awesome. I enjoy the heck out of this.